Hey guys, welcome. Chris Cox here for another Kiss guitar lesson. Today we're going to do an acoustic version of Beth. This is going to be different than the Kiss Unplugged because I arranged this as a single guitar player, similar to how I did the Hard Luck Woman lesson a few years ago. So this is for a single guitar player. Tuning is standard. You may have to do a little bit of fine-tuning adjustment. I think I'm slightly above standard to play along with the actual album. Also, if you're interested, I have the complete guitar tablature on my Patreon channel. So if you're interested in that, there'll be a link in the description. Click the link, take you straight over there. It's only $1 a month, and that gives you access to all the guitar tablatures and all the videos. So let's get started with acoustic version of Beth. Okay, so that introduction part is basically it's a theme that comes back frequently in the song, so we're gonna break that down real slowly. So basically you're playing a C chord, but you're gonna add an extra octave, or we have an open G in there. We're gonna add an extra G note here on the 3rd fret of the high E. So the fretting for this is gonna be 3rd fret of the A, 2nd fret of the D, open G, 1st fret of the B, and then 3rd fret of the high E. So you get that. So you first play one down strum, and then we kind of arpeggiate part of that chord. So we go first a strum. Now all I'm doing on that second part is just hitting the A and D string and then a strum on the G, B, and high E. So it's... Now before we play that little melody, we're going to come back and grab that open G. So it's... I just found that coming back and playing that open G just adds a little bit of thickness to it, lets that chord ring out a little longer since it's just one guitar player. Beth being that there's lots of orchestra parts and piano, it's a very thick, lush song, so trying to kind of figure out ways to make the chords brighter and sustain longer. And I should say with this, you want to let everything ring. You don't want to mute everything, so it's just... Now the melody is... So that's going to be 1st fret of the high E, you're going to play, and then open high E. Then you come to the 3rd fret of the B, and then the 1st fret of the B. So it's... But you're going to play that around holding this chord, this C chord. So it's... So that's why it's so important to let everything ring as much as you can. Let's play that again slowly. Part. So we're going to grab this open D and then play another chord. I believe this is a D minor chord. So this is going to be the 2nd fret of the G string, 3rd fret of the B, 1st fret of the high E string, if I can talk today. And you just hit that open and then strum. So let's play what we have so far. Play that D minor chord arpeggiated, so we go open D, and strum it. So that's going to be D, G, high E to B. So what we have... this tricky little lick here. So we're going to incorporate a little bit of hybrid picking in this song, not much. Hybrid picking is where you're using your pick and then grabbing another string with one of your fingers. So you're doing fretting on the 3rd fret of the low E, and then you're playing an open G. So you plug those together and then come back to the open G. So the open G is going to be ringing this whole time. So we go. So the frets, the actual movements happening at the first fret of the B, third fret of the B, first fret of the high E. So we're doing. Play that again. So we play what we have so far. Okay, probably the hardest part of the song is that little, getting that little nice melody in there. Now when you come out of that, you're going to come back to that big C chord with that extra G note. So it's same as the very first chord we learned, and then you go play the same thing. The change is when we get to the D minor, we do an open D and then strum the treble notes. So we go and then play open D, high E, B, and G. Hybrid picking is going to be slightly different this time. We still come back to the G, which is the third fret of the low E, but you're going to pluck the G and B together with the low E, so it's, and then play 2 down strums on the low E, and then pluck it again, and then it goes into the verse. So let's play that whole thing very slowly. Verses are going to be pretty much the same, minus there are little subtleties that I've changed just a little bit with each verse. I think the third verse is one that has the most changes, but the first is just that's just a C chord. So just third fret of the A, second fret of the D, open G, first fret of the B, and then high E. So you're going to play arpeggiated A, D, G, and then play B and E together as a strum. So then we go to that D minor we learned already, and you just play that arpeggiated. So, and I should say again, I have the full tablature on my Patreon channel. The link is in the description. This will be a great reference to use with this lesson. So we play open D, second fret of the G, third fret of the B, high E is the first fret. So we have then we go to an E minor. And we're going to play, that's the second fret of the A, second fret of the D, open high E. You play the open high E, second fret of the A, second fret of the D, and then you're going to play the high E and B together. So we have and you play this, which is an A minor. So you're going to play open A, and it's A minor chord. It's going to be second fret of the D, second fret of the G, first fret of the B. So and that's going to be plucked A, B, G, D. reach up here. This is tricky here. So you and then come up here and grab that third fret of the low E with your pinky. So it'll sound like this together. And once you grab that third fret of the low E, you're going to play open B, G, D. So it's just so once you play B, G, come to the G on the low E, and then play B, G, D. Then we go to a F chord. So that's going to be third fret of the D, second fret of the G, and you're barring your finger across the high E at the B, the B and the high E. I'm having trouble talking today. So you just strum that, and then I played. That's going to be D, B, G, high E, B. Then we come here and play big G chord without that major third. So we're leaving this note out. We're just going to mute that A with the side of our middle finger. So that's going to be third fret of the low E, open G, third fret of the B, and then third fret of the high E. So once you strum that chord, you play G, high E, B, back to the G. So we have back to a C. And so the same, but we're going to leave out that high E part there. So just a plain old C chord. And then we're going to do, or you can do single note like that, or you can do a like that. I like both. So once you play that part, you're going to do a hammer-on pull-off from the first fret of the B to the third fret of the B, back to the first fret. So you're going to have to hammer on with your pinky there. And then after that hammer on, you're going to play open G and D. Or you can do a strum and then okay. So we'll go back and play what we have. Got this. So imagine you're playing a big E major chord, but we're going to add this second fret of the G, which is an A note. So we go. Now you're playing all 6 strings with this. So the fretting is going to be open E, second fret of the A, second fret of the D, second fret of the G, open B, high E. Then you're going to lift your pinky and play just a straight E major chord. And that's going to be open E, second fret of the A, second fret of the D, first fret of the G, and then, of course, open G and high E. So, okay, so now we're going into the pre-chorus. So the first thing we do is go to an A minor chord. So we go, and that's going to be open A, second fret of the D, second fret of the G, first fret of the B, and then high E open. So you do. So this is different because you're basically going to first strum the chord, and you're going to arpeggiate it, and then strum it again before you switch to your next chord. So it'll sound like this. Play that again slowly. Switch to a G major chord. That's going to be 5th fret of the D, 4th fret of the G, bar your finger across the B string and high E at the 3rd fret, and that's a G major. And so you'll get now that part you're doing D, B, G, back to D, and then strum. So we have shift the same shape that you have here, 2 frets down, and that's an F major. So you play the same thing, same picking pattern. Sorry, that chord I played at E minor the first time, it's actually E major. And that's going to be, you play it first, and you're going to arpeggiate some of it. You're going to play open E, 2nd fret of the A, and then high E, and then open B. Both those are open. So I think this is a D7 chord. So this is going to be open D, 2nd fret of the G, 2nd fret of the high E, 1st fret of the B string. So that's what I played, yeah. So first strum the chord, and then we play this arpeggiated part. That's going to be D, B, G, high E, B, G. F major we learned earlier, and then shift down, play the G major, and then we're going to play A minor again in a different spot. Now that's going to be 7th fret of the D string, and you're barring your finger, flatten it out across the G, B, and high E. Play all that together, and then we play the melody. And that's just going to be a strum, and you play D, B, D, G. Let it ring. A minor, G major, F major, G major, back to that C. Again, the C major chord. Let's go into the second verse. Pretty much everything's played the same minus a couple transition licks here. So we'll come out of the chorus just to show you how it goes together. So when you get back to that C chord, you're going to play just playing a little riff into that C major. So it's going to be open A, 2nd fret of the A, 3rd fret of the A, and then play. And you'll arpeggiate the A, D, G, and then strum the B and high E together. Goes back to the same chords we already learned. This changes. Still the same chord, still the same A minor chord, we're just playing in the notes in a different order. We play open A, open high E, B, G. And then you're going to put your 3rd finger down on the 3rd fret of the, your pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the B. And play that, and that's going to be B, G, D. So it'll sound like this. So slightly different. But everything everything here is the same. The F major, same picking pattern, same with the G. Back to the C, same transition lick. Chorus will be the same. This will be pre-chorus. Learned this already. It's all the same. To the chorus, same melody. Interlude is right after that second verse. It's kind of like, I guess, the solo section, basically where all the strings, piano kind of come together, this real lush, and plays pretty much that introduction lick. Everything that we've already learned is in that interlude. So I'm just going to show you how to arrange it. It's the same stuff we've already learned. So when you come out of this, it goes right into that introduction riff. So only thing that changes from there is we go to this chord, which we've learned earlier. So if we just play, we'll go just grab it like it's an E major chord, and then you're going to just put your pinky finger on the second fret of the D string, play all 6 strings, lift up your pinky, and then play the E major. Then it goes to the same thing we've already learned. Final verse. This is played, when we talk about dynamics just means how easy you strum a chord or how easy you pluck a note versus how, hard you might strum a note. So in that last part, everything's going to be brought down because that's the real kind of solid part. It's just real basic. There's not as much lush background in that. So once we come to that, we do this. It's the same thing. So same chords as the other verses. But I added this little transition. And then it would go back into the main melody. So let's go over to that. So we go through that first part. This is the you're going to play everything softly. The C, D minor, E minor. But we're going to play something different here. We're going to play open A. And that's going to be, first finger is going to be on the first fret of the B string. You're playing open high E in the B. So A, open high E, B. And we're going to slide from second fret of the G to the fourth fret. So then once we get slide all the way to the fourth position, we're going to go here to the third fret and bar our first finger across the third fret of the B and high E. So it'll be, and that'll just be high E, B, G. So I'm going to go 2 frets back up, keep that same position. This is just part of that F major chord. We're just going to keep it to a triad. So that's going to be second fret of the G, first fret of the B and high E. You go strum that, come back down to where you were, 2 frets. Same position, fourth fret of the G, bar across the B and high E, and then go back into that intro. already learned this. So there's that other transition lick. So it's another one that kind of follows the strings and the piano on that part. So once you come out of that, we play that. So I'll just do a strum, then arpeggiate that D minor. We already learned that earlier that we're going to incorporate that high picking, so it's 3rd fret of the high E, or excuse me, low E, and then open G and B, and then you're going to play this lick. So that's going to be a hammer-on of open A, and then 3rd fret of the B, and then open G. Back to your C, that's where it resolves. Play all that slowly one more time, just that last outro part ending.